Now, Freakahhzoid. Freakahhzoid. What's up? How you doing, Freakahhzoid? One of the most consistent, no matter what kind of thing gets pushed onto your crew, the most consistent in representing and having conviction. But now we want to get into your head. The Star of Freak show and the focus on your particular style.
You know, when I started out, my first partner was obviously my brother. You know, my brother was my first training partner. I had him naturally there with me. We both, our era was kind of weird because we didn't really have YouTube yet, but we still had a lot of videotapes out there, you know? So our thing was, how can we get a hold of all these videotapes and study these dudes that, you know, are going to jams and killing it? We weren't going to jams yet. We were just trying to collect videos. So we got a hold of some videos, a bunch of videos, and just studied. You know, we saw all these guys, all the freestyle session videos, the B-Boy Summer videos, and, you know, we're inspired. We're pretty much trying to become like those guys or better than those guys, you know, and those guys are already doing crazy one-hand freezes. They're already doing crazy power. I remember our time was like West Coast versus East Coast. That was like the big thing. Like the West Coast is battling the East Coast, and the West Coast guys seemed like they were doing a lot of power moves, you know, and a lot of freezes, and for some reason that got me and my brother's attention a lot. We wanted to be like those guys, killing power, and I heard a term back then when people started saying blow-ups. You know, a lot of people were saying blow-ups. That was like a 90s term, I remember. I'm not sure who was the first one that said that, but Vietnam or these guys they're dropping blow-ups, you know? And to me, what that always meant to me was like, whatever blows the crowd up. It could be forward, it could be a new trick or a power move, whatever gets the crowd blowed up, you know? And that's what we thought was a blow-up. So we're like, all right, we like the blow-up aspect of b-boying. We wanted to take it to a next level, and we saw these guys already doing crazy stuff, so we started adding different styles, like, you know, circus stuff, yoga stuff, like you were saying, and we were really trying to add that to b-boying, even though it was already being done. We just had to take it to our next level, or try to take it to our next level. A lot of times people, I think, didn't like the scene that we were coming up with because guys were dressing different. You know, a lot of people were dressing different, wearing makeup, wearing just tight pants. You know, some people wear tight pants now in school, I guess, but back then it wasn't cool. That wasn't a cool thing, you know. People were getting mad at us for wearing tight pants at a hip hop jam. Everyone was wearing full, you know, sweat outfits or whatnot. They had their style already. But then, like our era, I feel a lot of guys were just, they're like, forget that, you know, more like a punk attitude. Like, we don't care what everyone was doing, let's just try to do something totally different. And I feel there's a big split right there when there's like foundation versus abstract, or either your abstract or your foundation. You know, and I didn't really care about labels that much back then, but, you know, people labeled us like abstract or different, whatever. We embraced it and we did it, you know. That's what people thought. We were freaks, so we became freaks, and we wanted to be those guys, the villains. We wanted people to call us out when we went to battles. You know, that was fun for us. I love going to jams. I would love going to jams and knowing that people want to battle us. That was exciting for me, you know. The battle, yeah, the sign-up battles was cool, but for us, like, what got us excited was being called out, having beef. You know, that was exciting for us because when we watched footage of these guys battling, it was passionate battles. It was a beef, you know, East Coast versus West Coast, or this guy copied my style or whatnot, and we love that feeling. So, you know, a lot of guys start hating on us, but regardless, I feel we just did our own thing. A lot of guys in our era just did their own thing, and a lot of guys innovated a lot of new moves, especially out here in the West Coast. You know, I see guys all over the world doing stuff that people have been doing here for years and years already. You know, and it was a hard time, but it was a fun time at the same time, you know. It made me, like, I grew up in the scene. I was little when I started battling. I was young. A lot of my personality and attitude comes from the b-boy scene. You know, I apply it to all sorts of different places in my life. In jiu-jitsu, for example, you know, my battle mentality is the same. I'm ready to go out there and battle anybody, anytime. And that was kind of the attitude you had to have in our time, you know. And I remember seeing, like, the first jam that I went to was like B-Boy Summit 2001. I remember seeing like Exuberant, you know, Exuberant from Ground Zero crew from Florida, dressed like an alien. He was dressed so weird, wearing like a helmet, you know, and just like, he looked bizarre. I remember looking at him like, what the hell, you know, like, that was crazy. But then I liked what he was doing. He was being himself. That's what he felt like doing, you know. He didn't care what anyone thought about him. He just embraced who he was, and he came out there and he was exuberant. He stand out, you know, you could see who he was, just the way he looked. And that always inspired me too, you know. I like guys that were different. You know, a lot of guys try to be the same like everyone else and try to follow each other's trends and stuff. I like guys that try to be different and they try to be themselves. You know, whatever they want to do, they do it. Even if no one's doing it or people don't like it, as long as they do their own thing, I can respect that, you know. And the Freak Show's attitude was always like that. Like, either you're gonna love us or hate us. We don't really care because we're doing what we want to do. You know, and ultimately in the long run, that they gave us credit. You know, guys respect us because of that. But it took a little bit, you know. And b-boying, you have to pay your dues for sure. These guys were gonna accept us. You know, at first they're just like, who are these guys? You know, they're clowns. You know, I felt that from them. Naturally, you know, I felt like we weren't accepted at first. But I think through time, putting in work and paying your dues just like they did, then you earn that respect. You know, you're not gonna get that respect if you go to one jam and try to blow it up and then you're thinking you're shit, you know? It doesn't work like that. You gotta be consistent. Tough love, it was, you know? But it made us stronger and it made us want to train harder. And I wanted to come to jams to prove it to those guys that, you know, we're part of this b-boy culture and we love this b-boy culture. We grew up in this b-boy culture, you know, and this is what I think the Freak Show is always going to represent, the b-boy culture. That's what we're about. And, you know, at one point people couldn't see that, but if you don't see it now, then you're blind. That's how I feel.